After the commit failure occurs, what you are supposed to do? If the failure occurs after the commit, you have to redo the operation. Okay, you have to redo the operation and you have to store the and save the values of the latest values into the database. Okay, and if the same failure occurs before the commit, we don't have to do anything. That's what we call as no undo operation. No undo and redo operation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this deferred database modification is known as no undo and redo operation. And next concept is immediate database modification. Immediate database modification. So as the name suggests, deferred ante meer gurupettukovali entante late database modification. Ante manamu for example ippudu a value undi b value undi. A value 200 change ayindi. But change agane ventane database loki update kaaledu deferred lo. B value 400 change ayindi. Change agane database loki update kaaledu. Eppudaithe commit chesamo, when we perform the commit operation, then only it is updated to database. Now that's why the name also you can relate deferred database. Deferred database ante commit operation చేసినప్పుడు అంటే లేట్ గా అప్డేట్ అవుతుంది అన్నమాట డేటాబేస్ లో, ఇమిడియట్ గా అప్డేట్ కావట్లేదు. బట్ ఈస్ హియర్ ద నేమ్ సజెస్ట్ ఇమిడియట్ డేటాబేస్ మోడిఫికేషన్ అంటే వాట్ ఎవర్ దట్ changes that you do, whatever the changes that you do within the database, okay, these modifications immediately reflected to the database. And for example a value 200 change చేసాము, ఇంత ముందు సేమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకుందాము. b వాల్యూ 400 చేంజ్ చేసాము. కమిట్ కాకముందే a వాల్యూ ఆటోమేటిక్ గా 200 వాల్యూ డేటాబేస్ లో స్టోర్ అవుతుంది, b వాల్యూ 400 ఆటోమేటిక్ గా డేటాబేస్ లో స్టోర్ అవుతుంది. ఆర్ గెటింగ్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, deferred database means delayed. You can assume the delay. You can assume that late. So only once you complete all the modifications to the variable, different variables, okay, and those values updated to the database, finally when we commit the operation. So just keep that in, understand the meaning of this immediate database. Just understand the term meaning only, heading meaning only you understand. So you don't confuse, because somewhere you can confuse with these terms. All of the concepts are also similar. So deferred means delayed or late. Late database modification ante మనం చేసిన మోడిఫికేషన్ అనేది షేర్డ్ మెమరీలో అవుతున్నాయి, ఓన్లీ కమిట్ చేసినప్పుడే ఆ మోడిఫికేషన్ అనేది డేటాబేస్ లో రిఫ్లెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. అది మెయిన్ పాయింట్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. నెక్స్ట్ ఇమీడియట్ డేటాబేస్ మోడిఫికేషన్ అంటే whenever we perform the operation on an individual, like a value we are changing, immediately it is going to be changed in the database. We don't have to wait for the commit operation. Are you getting what I'm saying? We don't have to wait for the commit operation. When we change the value of a, the same value is changed in shared memory and simultaneously it is updated to the database. Okay. So immediate database modification, that means the modification to the database occur immediately when we change the value, when we change the variable value, a value within the transaction. Okay, so you just have to keep this meaning in your mind so that you don't get confused, because these two are the confusing concepts, almost similar. And there are only two scenarios in this. Recovery means you have to recover the lost data. Lost data, when it will happen, when we lose the data, when the failure occurs. Remember just how they are relevant to each other. When you will lose the data, when the failure occurs. The failure may occur after the commit operation or before the commit operation. Are you getting what I'm saying? The failure may occur after the commit operation or before the commit operation. So just keep this in mind. The failure may occur. From the failure we lose some data and we don't want to lose the data. from the database. So we are recovering the data from the log file. From the log file also, the failure, because it depends on the failure, type of failure. A failure may occur before the commit operation, or failure may occur after the commit operation. And in this immediate database modification scenario, the values are updated to the database immediately, instantly. As we change the value of A, write the values of A, write of A immediately changes, reflect the change in the database. A is modified into 200. Write of B, immediately B value is changed. B is modified into 400. We don't have to wait for the commit operation in this scenario. Immediate database modification. Unlike deferred database modification. Clear? So based on this, we can take the same scenario. Same scenario, we are writing the data, taking the A value is basically 100, and you are adding 100, A is equal to A plus 100, and you are writing the value of A, and next you are taking the B, reading the B value. B is initially 200, and you are incrementing by 200, B value is writing 400, commit operation. The same example we are taking. Same example. But the log file in this type of modification would be written differently. The log file, if you observe, did you observe the log file here? Hello? Pratisha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So if you observe the log file here, T0 start is there, T0A, comma, some value, comma, some. So if you observe that this is a log file, for example, you can see the log file, you can observe. From this log file, we are retrieving the values. You can see the values we can take from this log file. The recovery manager will be taking the values from the log file whenever the failure occurs. So in this immediate database modification example, if you observe, the values are 2, not just a single one. If you observe the deferred database modification, you have only one value. You have only one value in the log file. T1, comma A, comma 200. T1, comma B, comma 400. Only one value will be present in the log file. But if you observe that immediate database modification example, here you are having values, old value and new value. So for example, T2, comma A, comma 100, comma 200. Similarly, tell the like a operation for B, log file operation. Samanvita. Samanvita, can you hear me? I am saying the B value, how it is modified in the log, how it is written into the log file. B, I mean transaction lo, is immediate database modification lo. Okay. T2 transaction anukuntadi. T2, comma A, comma A old value 100, comma new value 200. T2, comma A, comma 100, comma 200. ఇలా స్టోర్ అవుతుంది.
Okay.
So B value అనేది ఎలా రైట్ అవుతుంది log file లో? Can you tell me the B value, how the B operation will be written into the log file? Write of B. Did you get my question?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Whatever the A operation, A we are writing, A value 100 ఉండే దాన్ని 200 గా చేంజ్ చేసినాము. అది లాగ్ ఫైల్ లో ఎలా రైట్ అవుతుంది? T2, కామా A, కామా 100, కామా 200 అని రైట్ అవుతుంది. You can see. Okay. B value ఎలా, how it is written into the log file? B value, I mean B operation.
Same as the A, but
same as A. Just say how I explained in case of A.
Same T2 then B command values like 100, 200.
Yeah, T2, comma B, comma 200 and 400. Okay. Yeah. So T2 value is there. T2 value is in T2 transaction, B value is, old value is 200, new value is 400. Simple as that. So don't do, just look at these values, these numbers. Just follow what I say. So మనం just simple example మీద discuss చేస్తున్నాం. T2 comma B comma 200 comma 400. B old value 200. After the modifying, it has become 400. A old value 100. After modification, it has become 200. Only the same example you can write for every scenario, every type of database modification. Okay. So in below, if you observe, we have an old value and new value. We have old value as well as new value. So why we are having old value means we may require to store the old values sometimes. Somebody ఇంతకు మిమ్మల్ని క్వశ్చన్ అడిగితాను, ఓల్డ్ వాల్యూస్ ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి ఆల్రెడీ ఉంటే మనం వాటిని అప్డేట్ చేయక్కర్లేదు అన్న. బట్ సమ్ టైమ్స్ ఓల్డ్ వాల్యూస్ మే బి లాస్ట్, సమ్ టైమ్స్ న్యూ వాల్యూస్ ఆర్ అప్డేటెడ్. ఓకే, ఓల్డ్ వాల్యూస్ ఎందుకు అనేది నేను చెప్తాను మీకు ఈ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ అయిపోయి క్లియర్ గా అర్థమవుతుంది. వై యూ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ ఓల్డ్ వాల్యూస్. సో ఐ థింక్ ఎవ్రీ వన్ ఈస్ ఫాలోయింగ్. ప్రత్యూష కే, ఆర్ యూ ఫాలోయింగ్?
Yes, sir. Yes.
K Pratyusha. Hello.
Yes, sir. I'm following.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is, so ఇక్కడ రెండే సినారియోస్ చెప్పాను నేను. ఒకటి బిఫోర్ ద కమిట్ and after the commit. I will test you whether you are following or not. Before the commit and after the commit. నేను ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అడుగుతాను. ఇప్పుడు ఇమ్మీడియట్ డేటాబేస్ మోడిఫికేషన్ అంటే మీకు అర్థమై ఉంటుంది ఆల్రెడీ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఎందుకంటే కమిట్ ఆపరేషన్ పర్ఫామ్ చేయక ముందుకే వాల్యూస్ అనేటి డేటాబేస్ లో స్టోర్ అయిపోయి ఉంటాయి, రైట్? సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇన్ దిస్ సినారియో కమిట్ ఆపరేషన్ ఏ వాల్యూ అనేది 100 నుంచి 200 చేంజ్ అయింది, బి వాల్యూ అనేది 200 నుంచి 400 చేంజ్ అయింది. So commit operation, before the commit operation, failure occurs. అప్పుడు డేటాబేస్ లో ఏ వాల్యూస్ ఉంటాయి, ఏ వాల్యూస్ ఉండాలి యాక్చువల్ గా ఎవరు చెప్తారంటే కే ప్రతిశ చెప్తుంది. ఆర్ ఇన్ ద రైట్ ప్లేస్? కే ప్రత్యూష, కెన్ యూ హియర్ మీ?
Sir.
Will you be able to answer my question? Hello.
Sir.
Do you understand my question?
Sir, can you repeat it once again?
Yeah, my question is, in this immediate database modification scenario, if the I told the values, no, what is the old value of A and what is the new value of A. A old value is 100, new value is 200. B old value is 200, new value is 400. This is very basic example that we are following for every type of DB database modification. ఈ సినారియోలో కమిట్ అనే ఆపరేషన్ జరగక ముందు ఫెయిల్యూర్ అనేది అక్కర్ అయితే డేటాబేస్ లో ఉండే ఏ వాల్యూ ఎంత, బి వాల్యూ ఎంత? కెన్ యూ హియర్ మీ?
100 and 200 maybe.
Why 100 and 200? Justify your answer.
Because of failure. Because of failure.
Right, because of failure. From your point of view, it is correct only. Because of failure, the old value should be there in the database. But this
Yes,
is the
sir.
type of database modification that we are discussing. In this type, actually, whenever we are modifying a value to 200, immediately these values are updated to database. That's why we are calling it as an immediate database modification. As the name suggests, okay, as the name suggests, whenever you change the database value, ఆటోమేటికల్లీ అంటే ఏ వాల్యూ 100 నుంచి 200 మారిపోయింది, చేంజ్ అయింది అంటే కమిట్ ఆపరేషన్ కాకముందే డేటాబేస్ లో అప్డేట్ అయిపోయింది. B value 200 into 400 change in the before we actually commit the operation. B value is changed to 400. Now what are the values are there in the database?
$200 and $400.
200 and 400. So why? Because the reason is because only simple, like it is only because of the scenario, because of the you can see immediate database modification. It's not a deferred database
Yes,
modification.
sir.
In the deferred database modification, whatever you say, that is exactly correct. Because values only stored when we perform the commit operation. But in the immediate database modification, once you write the values, they are not only saved in the shared memory, they are also saved in the database. So that is the difference that happens in the immediate database modification.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Good try. So same scenario. Now you got the answer. The database 200 and 400 values ఉన్నాయి. But commit operation జరగలేదు. Just imagine. Just understand. Commit operation జరగలేదు. Commit operation జరగ ముందు 200, 400 values database లో ఉండొచ్చా? Is it correct that database should contain the values of A and B, updated latest values 200 and 400 before we perform the commit operation? Is it right?
No, sir. Maybe.
Yeah. So it is generally if we don't perform the commit operation, it is not correct. The value should be only old value should be there. But we will have an assumption that the commit operation might happen. In this scenario, we might have an assumption that we are anyway going to perform the commit operation. That's why we are updating directly into the database. But if there is no commit operation, these values don't deserve to be in the database. So we should contain only, database should contain only old values. So what are the old values are there? Old values?
100.
100 and 200, right? Old values are 100 and 200. So we can change the old values. Old values మనకి ఎలా తెలుస్తాయి database కి? Like how the recovery manager will know the old values? Samanvita.
Sir,
How the recovery manager know the old values of the transaction?
like we'll be storing those values now, sir.
It is stored
Values will be stored now
where they are stored?
in database.
No, you are not getting. Database, the old values are updated no already.
Yeah.
Then how the recovery manager commit operation is not occurred? The database supposed to contain old values. But how do the recovery manager know old values? What are the old values? Old values are already modified. 100 value అనేది 200 modified అయిపోయింది already database లో. 200 already 400 modify అయిపోయింది. సో commit operation ముందు failure occur అయింది. అప్పుడు database కి ఎలా తెలియాలి? Hello?
He can undo.
Undo, okay. Any other answers? See, data మీరు చిన్న పాయింట్ మర్చిపోయారు. ఇక్కడ లాగ్ ఫైల్లో ఏముంది? లాగ్ ఫైల్లో ఇమీడియట్ డేటాబేస్ లాగ్ ఫైల్లో వీ హ్యావ్ ఓల్డ్ వాల్యూస్ అండ్ న్యూ వాల్యూస్ ఉన్నాయని చెప్పిన కదా ఫస్ట్ స్టార్టింగ్ లో. రికవరీ మేనేజర్ లాగ్ ఫైల్ చెక్ చేస్తారని చెప్పిన కదా. రికవరీ మేనేజర్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు చెక్ ద లాగ్ ఫైల్. ఇన్ ద లాగ్ ఫైల్ ఆఫ్ ఇమీడియట్ డేటాబేస్ మోడిఫికేషన్ we are having not only the new values but also old values. So from these values it will take, and these values the recovery manager is going to update. Okay, update into the database. Did you get the answer?
Yes.
Okay. The values can be taken from the log file. Log file already values unnai kada, 100 and 200. So these values recovery manager will take and will update to the database. Right. So this is a scenario where the failure occurs before the commit operation. Before the commit operation in this, no, if any problem, any failure occurs, we are going to undo the operation. Undo means changing it to old values. As the name says, undo ante old values nunchi new values mali new values nunchi old values ki change chestunnam. We are undo. We are performing undo operations. Clear? Confusion undha emana indulo? Is it clear?
No,
Is the concept clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir,
Someone
it's
with
clear.
that.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yeah, immediate database, you can note down the points. Okay, because instead of taking these complex examples, just you can take the simple example. We are taking the same example for every scenario. Okay, only two scenarios in what if the failure occurs after the commit? What if the failure occurs after the commit operation? What are the values are going to be in the database? Somebody will respond. What are the values are there in the database? If the Pratyusha,
So
if the commit operation occurs, what are the values are going to be there in the database?
200 and 400.
200 and 400 new values are going to be there, no? So we can perform the redo operation to save the latest values. And if the values are lost, okay, after the commit operation, if the values are lost because of failure, we can take the values from the log file. Anyway, new values are there. We can save the values in the database. Clear? Concept is clear?
Yes,
Any
sir.
confusion?
No, sir.
Shall I explain another topic? Are you interested?
Yeah, sir.
You are interested? Samanvita, are you interested?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. The next topic is shadow paging. Actually, this Zoom meeting might end after 4 minutes. It has been already 1.5 hours, I think so. If the Zoom meeting ends, you have to just rejoin with the same link. Okay, maybe within 3 minutes this will end. So shadow paging is another concept for recovery. In recovery, we actually discuss two concepts. One is log-based recovery. Other one is shadow paging. Under the log-based recovery, we have two concepts. One is deferred database modification. Other is a immediate database modification. Clear? Deferred database modification and immediate database modification. These two concepts are completed. And next, shadow paging. Shadow paging is another technique, another method that we can use for recovery process. How to recover the values? Means old values or the latest values or new values. We are depending on the log file in the log-based recovery. But this is some different concept where we use the page table concept in shadow paging. In the in the previous example, we have used the log file for retrieving the values, old values or new values. Okay, but in the shadow paging, we use the page table. This page table concept is very interesting, and the idea is very simple. The idea behind this concept is very simple. In this type of technique, we are going to use the two page tables. We are going to use the two page tables during the lifetime of transactions. One page table is known as the current page table. One page table is known as the current page table, and other page table is known as the shadow page table. One is a current page table and the other is a shadow page table. And we are going to store this shadow page table in the non-volatile storage. I just now explained what is a non-volatile storage. This example, like a shadow page table is stored in the non-volatile storage. And current page table is stored in the volatile storage. Clear? And if you observe that shadow page table is never modified during the transaction. అంటే డేటాబేస్ డిస్క్ ఉంటుంది కదా, డేటాబేస్ డిస్క్ వాల్యూస్ ఉంటాయి, అందులో వాల్యూ స్టోర్ అయి ఉంటాయి. ఒక సైడ్ షాడో పేజ్ టేబుల్ ఉంటుంది, ఇంకో సైడ్ you are having one is a shadow page table, other is a current page table. And if you observe that shadow page table will never be touched while the execution is going on. Whatever the operation, the database operation that we are performing, they are saved in the current page table. Okay, are you understanding, Pratyusha? And they are stored in the current page table, not in the shadow page table. Shadow page table is never modified. All of you rejoin. Probably we might have 30 seconds time to end this meeting. The meeting will be closed, and just join with the same link. I will complete this concept, shadow paging concept.
Okay.
Okay.